Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Biohacking with Brittany. I am so excited you are listening to the podcast today. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, welcome. It is amazing to have you here. Today is a Q&A episode. So I am so excited to do this. I get so many questions from women and mothers about peptides and longevity and everything kind of surrounding that. So this episode is part of the Her Stack series, but it is more of a Q&A. I've pulled on a lot of the discussions and the DMs I'm having over and over again in order to actually provide you with more information and deeper information on some of these topics. So we are going to get started really shortly. If you watched my masterclass this week, thank you for being there. It was really fun. It was all about motherhood and longevity and peptides for moms. And like I said on the class, this has been something I've wanted to do for a very long time. It's been something very close to my heart. And it was awesome to actually be able to sit down and just focus on motherhood and how we can support moms during this time. If you are wanting to join my protocol program, the Mother's Protocol program, it's called the Mother's Protocol. Doors close on Sunday, and I'm not sure when they will open again. So that is my 12-week group program. We start next week. And every single week we meet and we dive deep into longevity and peptides for women and for mothers. Every week we will be talking about different things, including, oh my gosh, so much like sleep and skin and stress and longevity and nutrition and protein, hydration, all of these different things, but making it applicable to moms. So specific. How do you actually get more sleep when you are sleeping with a toddler? How do you get better sleep? Right? All of these different things that we might see all these recommendations online, but they actually are not designed for women and let alone mothers. So I have put together a full curriculum of content. This is the program. I'm just going to be so real with you guys. And I talked about this in the masterclass this week. By the way, the replay is up until Sunday. It's free. I will link that in the show notes for you. And it's on my website as well. But yeah, I really wish I had this program last summer. I wish I had it the summer before because I really just needed someone to say, what you did before you became a mom was effective, but now things have changed. And so your approach needs to change. And here's what to do. And I wish I had more support than I did. And so that is exactly why I created this program. And I talked a lot about this on the masterclass. I went through a pretty traumatic C-section. My whole team of care providers basically left me the week before, and it was a absolute mess. And so my birth was really difficult mentally and physically. And then I had postpartum anxiety and intrusive thoughts and really had to navigate that mental health aspect for the first time, plus heal from surgery, plus raise a child, plus run a business and have no support from family, and on and on and on. And so now I'm in a much better place physically and mentally, emotionally, and I want to be able to help moms do that as well. And a huge part of that is peptides. And people can make fun of peptides. People can say they're a shortcut or they're not FDA approved or how can you be against vaccines but for peptides, whatever it might be. But the reality is I have seen so much positive impact on my life that I wish I had started them earlier. I wish I had just joined the bandwagon earlier. And it's funny because on my podcast, if you go back, my first episode on peptides was from 2021, which was 5 years ago. So I have known about them for a long time. I've understood them, but they weren't as accessible as they are now. And yeah, you hear about something, then you have to hear about it so many times before you do it. So anyway, so obviously I've been using peptides for quite a while now. I've educated myself. I'm being board certified in longevity medicine right now, and that is the future that I am going, the path that I'm going down. And I am really happy about it. And I'm going to continue on this path of educating women and mothers about longevity and peptides. And who knows what else it'll grow into, but this is the space that I want to be in. So watch the replay. I really hope that you get a lot out of it. And you're welcome to join my program. Like I said, the doors close on Sunday. We begin Monday, June 8th. And that is for the summer. And this is incredible amount of support. You get access to all my sourcing for peptides, all my lessons, all my information for women, dosing, the private feed that we have. It's it's very high touch and it's just incredible. So that is coming. And if you are looking for your planner for peptides, I have my digital planner. You can download it. I had it here with me on my desk, but I took it back downstairs. The physical copy is coming so soon. I am really hoping to launch it this summer. So stay tuned for that. You can buy the digital copy right now. Everyone who buys the digital copy, I will be sending an email to you. I'll probably do a custom discount just because you bought the digital one if you do want the physical one. So that's launching this summer. It's going to be beautiful. It's linen bound, gold writing for women. It's a peptide planner for women. Link is in my show notes. Link is on my website. It's $16. It's literally so cheap and it's for 30 days, 3 months. Yeah. And what else is new? I'm redoing my website right now. I'm launching my one-on-one site because I get so many women asking to work one-on-one. So that's coming soon if that's something that you're looking for. And my group program, like I said, is running this summer. And yeah, that's kind of it. Everything's running full force. And I want to talk about a couple of things before we get into this Q&A that are just a bit, I don't know, woman to woman, because I think everyone who listens to this is a woman, basically. It was so interesting. I did my masterclass and it was yesterday, and I got my period literally 2 hours afterwards. And I remember thinking yesterday, I was just like, wow, what an interesting way for my body to react, right? Because the first day of your period is really, for me, it's a lot. First and second day can be painful, cramping, the blood is heavier, everything like that. And I thought it was so interesting that I did my masterclass at 1 p.m., like midday, and it waited until 4 p.m. to show up. And I was like, wow, like this is just indicative of a new beginning in my life, like a new chapter opening this mother's program for the first time ever. Yes, I've worked with clients and done other things before, but never specifically for moms. And then to get my period, it was just like this moment of time. And then this morning, I pulled a tarot card. I have one tarot deck. I'm not a tarot reader. I'm not magical in that way. But I have one tarot deck and I think it's called the Light deck. Oh, the Light Seers Tarot deck. Yeah. And this is the one I actually took to my retreat in Costa Rica. So if you're looking on the screen, this is the card that I pulled this morning. And it's number 21 and it's called The World. And I pulled it right side up. And it's this woman. She is in a circle and she's facing the light above her. And the description of it is so interesting. It basically said you're transcending to a new world, a new level of abundance, of success, of whatever you have been manifesting is here. Just stick to it and it's coming through right now. And it was just such a positive, abundant card to pull this morning. And it was just the perfect timing for all the new things that I'm doing. And so that is what's going on. And yeah, I'm just really excited about it. So I thought I would share. Okay, today we're going to get into Q&As and I'm going to help you as much as I can with some of these questions. And yeah, here we go. Okay, the first question, this question I literally get every single day. It's insane. I'm breastfeeding. What peptides can I take? Which ones? How many? Blah, blah, blah. Man, when I tell you I get this question in my DMs or my comments every day, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. And I don't know if I need to save the text message answer in my phone and copy and paste it every time because my answer is the same every single time. First of all, let's just completely break this down. There is no data, no clinical information. There's no clinical trials. There's no research at all on the impact of peptides in mom transferring through milk to baby. There's nothing. There's nothing on the safety and there's nothing on the harm. That means that if you decide to take any peptide at all, you are running your own risk. You are taking 100% responsibility, as you should, honestly, regardless if you're breastfeeding or not. You are taking 100% responsibility for yourself, for your baby. That's on you. Okay? That is the bottom line here. Before I say anything else, you have to understand there is no studies on this. And honestly, there will never be a study on this. Research is so slow to include women, let alone breastfeeding mothers. And also, why would they ever do research on that? Because there's no money in that. Who is going to make money from running a actual double blind placebo clinical trial that's actually done 100% correctly? Who's going to make money from that? Why would they do that? What peptides would they do? Yeah, there's no point. So that we will never have that information. Just like so many supplements, right? Like you read the back of a supplement and it'll say like not recommended if you're breastfeeding or pregnant. Like legally they have to do that. They're covering their butts. That makes sense, right? So when we talk about women who are breastfeeding, you have to understand that. That's the first thing. The second thing is it depends how much you are breastfeeding. If you are in the first 6 months and your kid is completely relying on you for nutrition, I would say I would not touch a peptide. Okay. You can, again, it's your body, your choice. You can, but the chance of it having an impact into your breast milk when you are feeding around the clock like that is obviously higher. If you are in the windows of 9 months, 12 months, 18 months postpartum and you're still breastfeeding, and maybe by 18 months you're breastfeeding twice a day, that is a completely different story. You have, how many ounces are you actually producing at that time? Probably, I breastfed until 19 months. So you're probably producing, I don't know, 8 ounces, maybe 15 ounces, something like that. Depends how much your kid drinks. But by the time your kid is 18 months, they're fully eating solids and all sorts of food, right? Like you are not the main nutrition source. So I say, and what I recommend, and obviously this is not medical advice, educational purposes only, the risk of peptides going through breast milk at that time is obviously lower because you're literally producing less breast milk and your baby is taking in less. So the timing is a big question here. And I always want to talk about that with women. I know women who are breastfeeding who are taking peptides. Yes. And I also know women who have decided to wait. It is individual, it is up to you, and it is also up to what you're dealing with, which is my point number 3. If you are in a space where mentally that peptides can help you, I personally think there's more of an argument for you to take them or try them than not. I'm not talking about, hey, I'm trying to lose baby weight at 9 months postpartum and I'm breastfeeding. No. I'm talking about I'm dealing with severe postpartum depression, severe anxiety, stress. I can't sleep at night. Serious things like that, where the justification of you trying them could arguably be worth it for you and your sanity and your mental health and being able to show up for your family and yourself and your kid and your community and your work, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So please just know that when I answer this question for everybody, everybody is so different. You have to decide based on these things. How much are you breastfeeding? What is your situation? I have a friend who went through a very difficult time mentally postpartum. Actually, I know multiple women who are microdosing psilocybin postpartum because it helps with depression, elevates mood, and it's not enough where they're hallucinating or anything like that, but it helps them feel better day to day. And they're breastfeeding. Again, they are making that conscious decision for themselves. They are taking the risk and they are fine with it. Therefore, it's their decision. Absolutely, I would avoid anything that has to do with weight loss, especially if you are in the first year of postpartum. I would not touch anything. I would, even if you are breastfeeding still at 18 months, I would not touch any GLP-1s, GLP-3s, anything that is so is very strong in the body. We don't want to reduce your appetite when you're breastfeeding. You need to eat in order to make milk. So that doesn't make sense. So make sure you're getting enough food and you need enough nutrients in that food to produce milk and have the energy and do all the other things. So that doesn't make sense. The other caveat that I want to say here, and I like to point it out, like point number 4 on this, is that when I look at my own postpartum journey, knowing what I know now with a toddler, knowing how peptides work, my experience over how long I've been doing them, I would have taken peptides earlier and I would have started earlier, even with breastfeeding. And I say that so that women know that you're not alone. And if you are struggling, there is a solution out there for you. I personally, because I went through so much anxiety postpartum and stress and overwhelm, I would have taken whatever recommendations I know now for that, probably starting at like a year postpartum. I would not have touched anything for skin or weight or anything like that. Now, when you are done, well, actually, no, before we get to that, the other thing that you can actually do, you can also you can do topical peptides, mostly GHKCU, which is the copper peptide that everyone loves. So I think that is totally fine. It's not systemic. It literally just like sits inside your skin cells. Your skin layers. It doesn't go very deep. You can also get a shampoo and a conditioner to help with postpartum hair loss that has the GHKCU peptide in it that can help with that. I think that's totally fine. You can use a serum for scars. So I have a C-section scar. You can use GHKCU on that. I think that's fine as well. Stretch marks, same things. Any of these other conditions that can kind of come during postpartum. You could also try oral peptides. Now, oral peptides, you're looking at things like PPC 157. I've seen KPV oral. I've seen, what else is oral? TB 500, maybe. Not a lot of oral ones, to be honest. And I think I saw a GHKCU oral one the other day, which was very interesting. I think there's something to be said about potentially taking oral ones. Now, oral peptides are not as effective at all compared to subcutaneously through injection. But that means that it will have less of a systemic effect, which is maybe what you're looking for while you're breastfeeding. These are different options. I'm just telling you what's out there. Okay. You need to make this decision for yourself. Now, when you're done breastfeeding, absolutely, you can go ham, order your stack, do it all. Know that your prolactin levels take a while to drop after you stop producing milk. And so I just literally talked to a client today. I sent her a voice message about this. She was like, she stopped breastfeeding after over 2 years. And she's like, I'm having the worst week ever. My mood is everywhere. My emotions are everywhere. I feel sad. I feel depressed. And I told her, I was like, it takes a while for the prolactin and your other hormones to balance out once you stop breastfeeding. Please give yourself grace and time. For me, it took a couple of weeks. Yeah, actually, it probably took about a month. And then I started feeling better, and I actually still had milk in my breasts, like even 3 weeks after I had stopped breastfeeding. So it doesn't just go away overnight, which is what I was told. It's not how it happened for me. I had milk just sitting there. So give yourself time, right? You have that prolactin needs to stop, needs to come down, and then you can start some peptides and things like that. And this is all in my community, by the way. Like I have lessons on every single peptide if you are breastfeeding, if you're not breastfeeding, if you are like where you are in postpartum, pregnancy, everything there. Like when I tell you that peptides for women and mothers is what I care the most about right now, like I'm not kidding. I've produced so much content for it. It's just in my community or my program. Like I just don't provide, I mean, I have all my free stuff on my podcasts and socials, but the deep stuff is in my community. Yeah. And you get access to all of that when you join my program, by the way. Okay. I think that's kind of it. I don't necessarily want to talk about supplements for breastfeeding because, man, there's so much we can get into. And I just wanted to really clear the air on that. If you hear bros talking about peptides for like during breastfeeding or pregnancy or postpartum or fertility, please just unsubscribe. The amount of times I hear this on other podcasts about peptides, I I cringe every time a man tries to give advice about women's health. Stay in your lane. You have no idea what it is like to be in a woman's body, to give birth, to go through postpartum. You have no idea at all. And so I just think it's absurd to make recommendations. And I just wish their recommendation was simply go talk to a woman about this who knows more than I do. Please don't listen to me. I only know a fraction because my wife went through it, right? I wish that's what they would say, but no, they sit there and they say all sorts of things and they just have no idea. So that is my real answer with breastfeeding. And I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying any of that or this is going to get taken down, but yeah, that's the reality. I'm not going to just say, no, don't do it because there's women doing it. And some women are really benefiting from it because postpartum can be so difficult. And that's like the honest truth. Okay, I'm not going to say any more about this. Now I'm getting heated. Okay, let's talk about cancer. So, another question that comes up a lot is, do peptides cause cancer or impact cancer? The answer for this is that there is no clinical data, there is no trials, there is nothing that shows that any peptides right now cause cancer or proliferate cancerous cells. Everything in this discussion, when it's about peptides and cancer, is theoretical. Okay, it's only theoretical. And this is because some peptides cause cells to grow. So, angiogenesis is the formation of new blood vessels. BPC 157 is a peptide that can cause, or that does cause, new blood vessels. And this is a good thing because we need this. We need this for healing tissues. And this is exactly why it works. This is why it works and heals C-sections and surgeries and injuries, is because it helps in this way. So people are taking that and saying, okay, well, if BPC 157 causes these new cells to form, can it cause more cancerous cells? But there is no data, information, or clinical evidence of this whatsoever. The other aspect about this is the growth hormone aspect. So I want to just kind of pull back the layers here a bit. And I think I'm going to do a full podcast episode on this and explain growth hormone to everybody. So growth hormone is something that is secreted by your pituitary gland. Actually starts in the brain. So the brain, here we go. I'm just getting into it. So the brain sends out a signal called growth hormone releasing hormone. That goes to your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland releases growth hormone. Growth hormone travels down to your liver and makes your liver release IGF-1. IGF-1 is what you can actually test for. You don't test for growth hormone because growth hormone is released in pulses. So if you were to run a test, how do we know where you are in your pulse? It's not actually an accurate reading of what is going on. Like if you wanted to do a full accurate reading, you probably have to test multiple times in a day. I don't think anybody actually does that. It doesn't make sense. So you test your IGF-1 levels. Now, growth hormone secretagogues nudge your pituitary to produce more growth hormone. A secretagogue, by the way, when you hear that word, means it causes, how do I explain this? It causes something else to do something more, to create more of that. Okay. It's not a blocking mechanism. It's not itself. It actually just makes more of the thing that's already there. So growth hormone secretagogues nudge your pituitary gland to make more growth hormone, and then you have more IGF-1 in your system. And this is the growth signal. And so then people link this to cancer as well. Growth signals can feed hormone-sensitive cancers and other cancers. So if you have, again, there's no evidence of it though, right? But if you have a history of cancer in your family, or you have a history of cancer yourself, it probably doesn't make sense for you to take anything that touches IGF-1. Again, theoretical. You can still take the risk yourself. Your body, your choice, right? But I would dive deep into this to really understand it. I would get cleared from your oncology team before trying anything that looks at IGF-1. Now, if you don't know what touches IGF-1 or growth hormone, it's things like tesamorelin, ipamorelin, basically any of the things that end in relin, R-E-L-I-N. Okay. So just be aware of that. You can also get your IGF-1 tested, by the way, and keep it optimal, not maxed, and then you can understand as well. So you technically, maybe you could try these peptides, constantly test your IGF-1 and make sure that you are not maxing out too much. There are better things though, like if it is for weight loss or it is for body composition that you could look up. You could look at AOD 9604 or MOTS-c, which is a mitochondrial peptide. So I would, if I was somebody in this position, I would run labs. I would have a very clear screening of your history, your family's history, what you're dealing with. I would talk to your oncology team if that's something that you have. And I would just be really careful with anything that touches growth hormone in that way. But I probably wouldn't worry about anything like BPC 157. There's a lot of benefit from BPC 157. There's a lot of anti-inflammatory benefits. There's a lot of healing benefits. And so arguably those benefits outweigh the potential harm that could come from the angiogenesis, which we just talked about. Okay, I hope that kind of helps you understand that and what's going on. Okay, let's talk about postpartum weight. I also get this question a lot. You're eating clean, you're training hard, and the weight won't move. Stubborn belly fat, however you want to word it. So my next Her Stack series complete protocols episode is actually on body composition, and that's coming next week. So we're going to talk about literally every single weight loss peptide out there, all of them, like best ones, worst ones, and more importantly, we are going to talk about nutrition, supplements, exercise, everything like that for women, for mothers, and what actually works. What works postpartum, perimenopause, menopause, because it's different, right? Like it's different depending on this phase of life that you're in. So for postpartum specifically, I'm going to assume here that I have to, I'm going to assume that you are not breastfeeding, okay? So there's a lot going on here, and I know because I just went through it, and there are different drivers, right? So suppressed growth hormone, your thyroid is overworked and taxed, you're probably not getting a lot of sleep, and you might have insulin resistance. So the hormone cascade is completely out of whack. Is your period back? Like, is your cycle normal? Is a whole other question as well. So when your insulin is high, your body has it locked into storage and it can't reach fat for fuel. Your thyroid slows during postpartum, and this drops your whole metabolism as well. And this is often missed if you only test for TSH. So you actually have to get multiple things tested here, like T4, T3, reverse T4, reverse T3, TSH. I think that's it. I think I might be missing one. Is typically like the full workup that you can do for your thyroid. Sleep, when you're not sleeping well, your cortisol goes up, and the more cortisol you have, typically the more belly storage, belly fat you have. And then growth hormone is blunted during postpartum, and there's no overnight repair of it or fat burn because your sleep is struggling. So I'm just kind of touching these. I'm going to go deep on our next episode, so bear with me here. When you restrict calories during this time, it actually makes everything worse, right? And so that is why training hard and eating clean doesn't really work during postpartum, especially in the first year. And so your thyroid drops, your muscle drops, and that is not what we want. Recommendations here. Whew. And again, I'm going to get deep into this next week. So I really love MOTS-c. I think MOTS-c is a great place to start. MOTS-c is a mitochondrial peptide. I have taken it. I lost weight with it. I lost belly fat with it. Yes. And it increases your energy. And when this happens, it makes everything kind of easier, right? So you have more energy for your workouts, you have more energy for your kid, for everything that you're doing. So you can kind of show up better for everything, which is nice. And it helps with the metabolism. So it's a really nice way to boost metabolism, get a bit of weight loss effect without significant appetite suppression like we see with GLP-1s, without touching your growth hormone, which we don't really want to do at this time. So it's this perfect little peptide that's perfect for postpartum women, essentially, because it doesn't touch any of those areas. It is for the mitochondria. That is where I would start, especially if you're 1 year postpartum, you're not breastfeeding. I think that's a fabulous place to start. And then what I just started AOD, so I don't want to talk too much about it right now because I'll see how it's affecting me by the time I record the next episode. AOD 9604 is a good one as well. It also doesn't touch growth hormone or any appetite suppression, which we really don't want postpartum. We want to be getting our nutrients in. So those two would probably be my recommendation as kind of a starting safe space if you are postpartum and this is happening. But come to my next episode and listen so we can go deep into it. Okay, I'm gonna skip some of these more basic questions here. The last one I'm gonna answer is blends versus signals. Singles, my gosh. I do get this question a lot, and I get this a lot from clients, basically trying to figure out, okay, do I take a glow peptide, which has TB500, BPC 157, and GHKCU in it, or do I take them all separately? What about the Wolverine? What about Clo, CJC 1295 with Ipamorelin, right? Like there's all these different blends you can get now. So blends are made because the mechanisms of the peptides tend to be complementary to each other. So if you're looking for something for healing an injury or surgery, the Wolverine stack is great for you. Both BPC 157 and TB 500 work on both of those things in different ways, but they complement each other. And that's why the blend is made, right? It's, hey, here, there's a bunch of things that work together nicely for this one problem that you have. Here, take it as a blend. It's convenient. It means less injections. It means less vials, less reconstituting, arguably cheaper, depends. And that's why people like it. Okay. The single ones are different. You can control the dose to exactly what you want it to be. You can titrate up, like as in you might say, oh, I want more BPC 157 now, but I want less TB 500. You have the ability to do that because they are not mixed together. You can isolate them, right? You can see that. You can also isolate any reaction. So if you have a skin reaction, you can very easily see, oh, this was caused by the GHKCU. This was not caused by the TB500. So you can isolate the reaction. There's more work with single peptides, but there's more precision. With blends, you have a fixed ratio, so you can't just adjust one part or tell which one caused the reaction. My preference has always been singles. That's because I like precision. I don't want to be, especially with something like Wolverine, if I want a certain amount of TB500 per week, I don't want to be taking way more BPC 157 than I need because it's just blended together, or vice versa. I don't want to waste peptides or not get enough of it. I want the exact dose that I need every single day. So that's why I just don't bother with blends at all because the ratios and the dosages is never exactly what I want. If you have them, you can try them, but that's kind of where I stand with that. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else with this. Probably not. And you can try them. See how they go. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question here. I've pulled so many, but I think this is getting long enough. Let's see. Okay. How to build your own stack. How to build your own stack of peptides. This is a good one. I think that if you are peptides are interesting because once you learn about them, you start with one and then two, and then suddenly you're on a stack of eight and you're like, how did I get here? I'm injecting myself morning and night. Oh my gosh, I'm taking so many, right? That's kind of how it happens for a lot of people. And the issue with that is that it makes it harder to see and isolate what's working and what's not working. And it gets really expensive. It gets really expensive. So my sweet spot is I like to be on 4 or 5 at a time and that's it. And I will wait until I've cycled off of something before bringing on something new. You can always add more. Like you can always add more, right? So that is kind of like what I see with that. When you are building your own stack, it depends on your goal. And this is how I try to frame it with clients, people in my program, everything like that. I keep saying 30, in 90 days from now, in 3 months from now, what is one goal that you would like improved with your health? Okay. Is it your skin? Is it body composition? Is it energy, recovery? Just pick one primary goal and let's work on that. So if your goal was, I don't know, something like skin, or let's do energy because energy is so common, you would start with the foundations of your lifestyle, nutrition, and biohacks. And this is what I teach of, do I have a solid enough foundation before bringing in an advanced therapy like peptides to get benefit from it accurately and get the most benefit possible? Am I having enough protein? Am I hydrated enough? Is my sleep good? Do a full audit of your life and your nutrition and your supplements before adding peptides in, please. Okay. And I teach this, and you can listen to my podcast episodes and ask me questions. I'm here to help you with this because if you are not leading a healthy lifestyle, these peptides, it's kind of just, it's not a waste of money. You still will get benefit from it, but you can get so much more if you are in a healthier place yourself. So for energy, like a big one is sleep, looking at your sleep architecture, studying how you're sleeping, studying your sleep environment. Are you sleeping in a dark, cold space? Are you going to bed at a good time? Circadian rhythm, light in the morning, all of those things. And then when we do want to add in peptides, you could start with one or two. So MOTS-c is a great one for energy for the mitochondria effect that it has. You could also look at something like NAD, people love for energy as well, because it also impacts mitochondria to produce more energy. You could look at something like Cmax. Cmax is actually more of a nootropic, and it works on the brain and helps people to focus and be able to work better and have better memory recall. And that might not feel like energy, but actually in your workday, if your brain is firing better, it is more energy. It's easier for you to get things done, right? You suddenly are more productive. So really picking your goal, setting your foundations, and starting with one or two really, really targeted peptides. You run that for a while, see how you're feeling, see if you have a reaction in your body. Start small. Your dosages, especially as a woman, should be specific for you. If you are postpartum, it should be different. If you are perimenopause or postmenopause, it's also very different. Your hormonal landscape at that time in your life is different than when you are in your 30s. So really think about that. And I talk about this. It's in my community. It's in my programs. I'm saying that so much because it is. Okay. And observe, follow the protocol. For example, MOTS-c is, I think it's what, 8 to 12 weeks and then 4 weeks off. That's what I did. Don't go over the recommended amount. Take it every 3 or 4 days. See how you feel. Come off, cycle off for a month. See how you feel. The goal of peptides is not to be on peptides for forever, even with a GLP-1, right? That's not the goal. The goal is to advance your health and then be able to maintain that level of health without the peptide, maybe pulling on it again 6 months down the road or maybe a year later. They are an advanced tool. They don't replace a healthy foundation or healthy nutrition. So this is exactly what I teach in my program. If you are a mother and you're looking for a program that's actually designed for you and your longevity and peptides for you, we literally start on Monday, doors close on Sunday, and I don't know when I will ever offer this again. So the link is in my show notes. It's on my website if you want to join us. I would love to have you, and it's very, very special. I cannot wait to be able to support women in this way, something that I've wanted to do for so long. Other than that, stay tuned, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing to the podcast. The Herstack series episode will come out next week on body composition. So stay tuned for that. And I will catch you soon for another episode. Bye.